Vinnie Jones is back as a London crime organization hard man. So can he reclaim that super cool bad motherfucking status he had in similar roles back in the day? Does he still got it? Will he utter the line, "I'm the Juggernaut, bitch"? Probably not that last one, but let's see about the rest. The Big Ugly is brought to us by director Scott Wiper and stars Vinnie Jones as Nealon, the muscle from Malcolm McDowell's crime lord Harris. Harris and Nealon leave London and come to West Virginia, of all places, to strike a deal with Ron Perlman's oil man Preston. Ultimately, they're wanting to launder their money, and by doing so through Preston's company illegally, he gets a loan on the oil that he hasn't drilled yet. So it works out for everybody. After the deal is struck, everybody parties the night away in celebration at a bar. Upon waking up the next morning after being blitzed out of his fucking mind the night before, Nealon notices that his longtime love of his life girlfriend Fiona is missing. As everyone else goes back home to London, he decides to stay behind to find her. And as he digs for clues, he finds that some pretty bad shit went down while he was knocked out the night before. And Nealon, being the hard man that he is, goes to enact his own kind of revenge. It would seem that Preston's son, Junior, played by Brandon Sklenar, may have had a hand in Fiona's demise. So when Nealon goes to enact his revenge, one can see how this could cause a problem. And problems, they do arise, to the point to where everybody ends up having to get involved. Going into this movie, all I knew was that Vinnie Jones, Malcolm McDowell, and Ron Perlman were in it. I like all three of those actors, so going in it had a bit of a one-up from the get-go. However, having this talent in the movie does not necessarily guarantee that it will be a good movie. Our story here is just a good old revenge story. There's some other stuff going on in the story, but it never muddles things up too much with that other stuff. It stays pretty pure to the fact that this is about Nealon's revenge. And I like that they did that. They didn't get too muddled up with all that other shit. It's there, it throws some monkey wrenches in when it needs to, but it always stays focused on Nealon and his goal. And for the most part, I enjoyed the story of this movie. I liked where it went, it moved at a pretty brisk clip, it stayed interesting and didn't waste my time. That being said, the end is lacking a little bit. I mean, it's okay, but it is pretty damn predictable and kind of lightweight. Where the movie ended up going, I don't really know exactly what I would want, but I do know that what I got was just okay. Better than being bad though, I guess, so there's that. From a performance standpoint, all our regulars here do a really good job. Vinnie Jones is Vinnie Jones. He's really solid in this kind of role. He's been playing that London crime underworld hard man for decades, and he does it really well here too. Here though, we do however get to see the story more from his character's perspective. He's usually one of the side characters. He's not the main focus of the movie when he plays these types of characters. Here, his character is the main show, and we get to see things from his perspective. And that made it a bit of a fresh take on things. Seeing as how we do spend quite a bit more time with his character now, we get a lot more character development and emotion from his character this time around. And he shows that he was very much up to the task. He does a really good job here at carrying the movie. Something else I really liked about Vinnie Jones's character in this movie was that he was not just an unstoppable Terminator badass. He is an enforcer, yes, so he's pretty badass, but he's not unstoppable. In fact, he gets his ass kicked and handed to him a few times in this movie. And I like that. He just didn't walk in the room and you immediately know he's just gonna lay waste to everybody here. No, not at all. I mean, there's a few times he gets the better of some people, but then they come around a couple of times and knock his ass the fuck out and whoop the teetotal shit out of it. That did make situations that his character entered into a bit more interesting. You didn't automatically know the outcome when he walked into a room. And that as well was pretty damn refreshing. Ron Perlman and Malcolm McDowell are fantastic as these two titans. Both of them more or less play crime bosses on either side of this dilemma. And they don't hate each other. They're actually really good friends that have known each other for years. But due to the things involved with this situation, both of them are forced to pick a side. And unfortunately, that side is at odds with one another. There's a scene near the end of the movie where these two guys are sitting at a table having a very important discussion, and it's just great. Both of these actors are known for chewing up the scenery, and here it's both of them just going at it, and it's just great to watch. While everybody in the movie does a really good job, one other very notable performance would be from Brandon Sklenar as Junior. His character is just a motherfucker you hate. And it's not just through his actions, it's his whole demeanor. The performance he gives is just so sleazy, arrogant, and filled to the brim with debauchery that you will want to punch this motherfucker in the face from the get-go. If nothing else, they did a fantastic job of making you hate this motherfucker. Being a movie about revenge, there's not nearly as much action in it as I was expecting. Yes, there is some, and when it kicks in, it's very well done. But the movie does take its time with what's going on and does focus more on the drama of everything that's going on than I thought that it would. But it does always remain entertaining, and when those few action moments do kick in, they do hit with a punch for the most part. Guys, The Big Ugly was a good time. It is at its heart a good old revenge story. It doesn't try to be more than that or less than that, and it succeeds. It's got some really good performances, but if nothing else, Perlman and McDowell scenes together are worth showing up all on their own. It's a solidly made flick that gives you what it's advertising and is absolutely worth streaming.
Across the street.
If you're looking for a really solidly made revenge flick one night, throw this one on. I think you'll have a pretty good time with it. So there it is, guys, my review of The Big Ugly. If you enjoyed and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you liked what I had to say, give me a like. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, stay sexy, Charleston.
God. Land. Oil. I didn't come here to West Virginia for God.
There's a really badass line in the trailer and in the movie more than once spoken by Vinnie Jones. There's 3 things that men come to West Virginia for: oil, God, and land. I ain't here for God. I don't know why, but that just sounds so fucking cool. But if you really think about it, it doesn't make any fucking sense whatsoever. Either way though, it still sounds fucking hardcore, and I'm looking for the day when I can actually use that line out in the real world. It'll have to be one of those moments where I just like say it and walk the fuck away though, because if I stand there too long, people think about it and be like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'll get the opportunity one day. One day.